Hello and welcome to the Craft Beer Corner. For today's beer review, we're jumping into a new flavored stout by Hubbard's Cave, one of the absolute stout masters and one of my favorite stout brewers in the marketplace today. Yet again, we've gotten this beer from Tavour, my inside man for all of these great beers that I can't find locally. This specific beer is called Peanut Butter S'mores. It's been brewed with peanut butter, chocolate, graham crackers, marshmallow, and vanilla. As is typical with their stouts, it clocks in at exactly 12% ABV. Hubbard's Cave is based in Niles, Illinois. So for me, this is one that's just filled with things to love. I love Hubbard's Cave. I've yet to have a bad beer by them. I've gotten them all from Tavour. This is their classic stout recipe. They use the same underpinning and come up with new and interesting, different flavor combinations. So 12%, that's where their stouts are going to be, regardless of standard stout or milk stout. This, as a flavored stout, is kind of just one of those, I had to get it when I saw it pop up. As you all know, I've been on this thing where I see a s'mores beer, I grab it. It's a hard dessert to do. It would be easier to do in a milk stout form because you could add the lactose, really add that sweet side that is essential for the marshmallow. I've had some that were pretty close approximations, some that were nowhere close but were still good, some that were nowhere close and weren't that great. But this combines kind of two of my favorite things into one, s'mores plus peanut butter. And of course we have this nice stout from Hubbard's Cave. So in terms of label art, I mean, it's just a picture of a peanut butter s'more. I mean, what's not to like? Exactly as advertised. So let's get this cracked gently. And I'm expecting this to be ridiculously thick, as Hubbard's Cave stouts tend to be. It's going to be jet black, and it's going to glug out of this can. So we're going to start aggressively out of the gate to give it a chance to form a head here. It's about as aggressive as I can get. Yeah, as expected, it's just so thick. Despite its best efforts, it's going to have a tough time forming a head. I do see there's actually quite a lot of carbonation slowly making its way through this very, very thick beer. I can see slowly rushing up, and I mean very slowly. Very tiny, fine champagne-like bubbles slowly rushing through this very thick beer body to make their way to the top to form this head. So, visually, as expected, absolutely pitch black. The head, you know, it did okay considering it's Hubbard's Cave. They're so thick, it's just hard to do. Let's give it a sniff. Wow. Gosh, that really does. That really does smell like peanut butter s'mores. So maybe it's just that I'm a giant peanut fan and peanut butter fan. It's one of my favorite foods. There's a handful. Cheese, bananas, peanut butter. That's like top 3 for me in no particular order. And I used to make peanut butter s'mores as a kid in the microwave. Basically, had some chocolate in there, graham crackers, some marshmallows, and I would spread peanut butter and then set the chocolate on top of that, then the marshmallow on top of that, then another little bit of peanut butter to make sure it stuck. And yeah, microwave, not the best place. A campfire is obviously appropriate, but if you like the flavor of s'mores and you just want to melt it together, it does actually work in the microwave. You can also do it on top of a stove. If you have one of the old school with the little coils that are on the top, you can actually take a marshmallow on a fork and heat up the eye and touch it briefly, and it will toast that marshmallow for you and get a decent bit of heat to where you can melt that chocolate. S'mores making tips aside, this smells fantastic. It literally smells exactly as advertised. It smells like peanut butter s'mores, and honestly, I cannot wait to jump into this beer, so we're going to do exactly that. Bottoms up. Ooh. Oh. Oh, Hubbard's Cave. Oh, you've done it. You've done it again. Oh, man. Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping it would taste like. That is exactly what I was hoping it would taste like. Okay. So, these flavors are not going to get out of my mind. So, let's talk about the body and the mouthfeel first. The body on this, as expected, on a Hubbard's Cave Stout at 12%, it's medium heavy to heavy. It's got a big presence to it on the palate. The mouthfeel, as expected, is very resistant. It's pretty viscous. You agitate, you can just feel the thickness of the beer. So texturally speaking, it feels like a 12% ABV stout should. Now, let's talk about this flavor. So this does not say it's a milk stout. It mentions nothing about lactose, and I believe it because there is a very nice, rich underpinning of that malt bill. But I can tell you that this does legitimately taste like a peanut butter s'mores in beer form. And I am pleasantly and genuinely surprised by that fact. So maybe they added just enough lactose in this to let the kind of marshmallow speak out as a sweet flavor compound, because I can distinctly taste marshmallow. It also helps bring the vanilla into play, which most marshmallows have a little vanilla flavoring in them. It's not just puffed sugar. So I think that they have just enough sweetness in here to let the marshmallow speak, so it actually does taste like s'mores, but not so much that, you know, they're saying, look, we're trying to make a milk stout here. I don't think that's what they were trying to do, because there's this really, really rich underpinning of roasty malt character that comes through on the back. And that really plays into not just the richness of the chocolate s'mores traditionally made, you know, if you're American, a Hershey bar, so milk chocolate, but also the graham cracker. It's got this, you know, typically you buy a Honey Made brand Nabisco, you know, the honey sweet, or you could get honey cinnamon, and they have other varieties. But there was a slight sweetness to the cracker, but of course, obviously being a cracker, it does taste very grainy. And that is kind of the two qualities where this malt bill is coming into play for me. It's pairing with the kind of intrinsic graham cracker flavors that plays up that kind of grain-like, that flavor of wheat and whatever else, you know, obviously barley in this case, but it's got grains, and it's really attaching to that in the malt bill. So it does actually come out tasting like a graham cracker, which is key. You can taste all of the constituent elements of what the dessert is in this beer. And the peanut butter, loud and clear, and it's absolutely delicious. I drink a ton of beers that have peanut butter in them of all styles. I like the vast majority of them. Some of them I'm meh. This, they absolutely nailed. And not only is it peanut butter, but they mixed it with these s'mores ingredients, and it actually legitimately tastes like peanut butter s'mores. I can taste marshmallow. I can taste the vanilla flavoring in the marshmallow. I can taste the graham cracker. I can taste the chocolate. I can taste the peanut butter. All of it has its own voice, and it blends together, and it literally is like drinking peanut butter s'mores. It's absolutely delicious. It's exactly what I was hoping it would be. I'm not disappointed at all. So I'm going to jump back in for a second sip here. Let these flavors intensify again. We'll talk a little bit about the finish, see if I pick anything else out, but absolutely, I love this. I love it. Big presence, very resistant. You swallow, it's immediate. A little sweetness, the marshmallow comes through, the peanut butter jumps right out you, the milk chocolate in about the 3 to 5 second mark. The malt bill, that roasty undertone comes, really brings out that graham cracker, really tastes very grainy. Peanut butter intensifies, becomes a little more present. To match the intensity of the chocolate and the marshmallow and the graham cracker, it's all mixing together. It is a peanut butter s'mores. I mean, exactly on first sip, I just intensified the flavors again, and I'm not disappointed by that on second sip at all. The other thing I could say, you know, peanut butter, you brew with it. I brewed with it before. There is a little bit of an oil pad that floats on top, a little bit of an oil slick. Peanut butter obviously has a lot of natural oils in it. You're never going to get it all out of your brew, so don't be put off if you see it floating on top. It is a natural ingredient. It's going to be there. You can't get it all out. What I can say is, sure, this is not barrel aged, but this is a very flavor forward beer, and the flavor intensity is quite big. The finish on this is significantly longer than your average flavor stout. And really, where it goes on the end after all of this is just one pops out, one flavor, then they're all mixing together, and it's just delicious for 10, 15, 20 seconds. It tastes exactly, and they slowly start to die down and work their way out to the slow finish. On the end of the finish, what you're left with is this underpinning of chocolate, milk chocolate specifically, and just a little bit of that graininess of the graham cracker and a little bit of that peanut butter and a little bit of that marshmallow. So it all just kind of dies down slowly to get together. But it's still like everything you got as it built together and it all mixed at its height of intensity still just lingers on the back of the palate. So you've got this milk chocolate and it's mixing with the graham cracker with bits of that vanilla marshmallow light and just this earthy peanut butter flavoring in the back. And it's absolutely delicious. This is one of the better peanut butter flavored beers I've had. It's easily one of the best s'mores beers I've had. I am a massive fan of this one. I'm going to take my time counting my scores. When we come back, we will get this beer ranked from top to bottom. Okay, now that we've gotten to enjoy this beer, we're going to get it ranked. This was Hubbard's Cave's Peanut Butter S'mores, an Imperial Stout clocking in at 12% ABV that was brewed with peanut butter, chocolate, graham cracker, marshmallow, and vanilla. Hubbard's Cave is based in Niles, Illinois. So starting with the aroma on this beer was very much a classic Hubbard's Cave. Big, bold, stout, full of flavors, does impart a very large aroma onto the beer. That said, this was not quite as pungent as some, but it was certainly well above average, and what you did get out of it really did smell like peanut butter s'mores. The aroma gets a 9 out of 10. For the taste, I absolutely loved this. They nailed it. This is easily one of the best, if not the best, s'mores flavored style beers I've had. And the addition of peanut butter in the s'mores, it really took me back to my childhood. I absolutely loved it. Taste gets a 10 out of 10. For the body, this is classic Hubbard's Cave Imperial Stout. The body was huge. It does get a perfect 10 out of 10. For the mouthfeel, massively resistant, very viscous, doesn't really get creamy or anything when you agitate around the palate, but you can really feel just how thick it is, and it pairs beautifully with that big body. Mouthfeel gets a 10 out of 10. For the finish on this beer was significantly longer than your average Imperial Stout. Frankly, it comes down to pungency of ingredients added, just the intensity of the flavor profile. It was absolutely delicious, but it was very big, bold peanut butter s'mores flavors that really pushed it out because there's no real bittering here at all. This was a dessert beer, but it was just massively bold and really extended out the length of that finish. The finish does get a 9 out of 10. For the head and retention, this is really just low end of average. You never really know with a Hubbard's Cave. I was very aggressive in the beginning, and you could see slowly these super fine bubbles rising through that thick beer, and it did finally form a bit of a head. Didn't stick around that much, didn't really get big and thick and creamy. It is what it is. Head and retention gets a 4 out of 10. For the appearance, textbook Imperial Stout, pitch black, gets a 10 out of 10. For the balance on this beer I particularly enjoyed. All of these constituent parts that went in to make this peanut butter s'mores flavor all had their own voice. They worked beautifully together. It really did taste like a peanut butter s'mores, and there was still just this underlying nice roasty edge to the malt bill, as you expect from a Hubbard's Cave Stout. Balance gets a 10 out of 10. Feeling in the intangibles, subjectively, I absolutely loved it. I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. Finally, as an example of the style. Overall, this beer did extremely well in most categories. A few lost a few points, but for a big, bold, flavored Imperial Stout, this is a great example of how to do it, particularly in terms of balancing ingredients and let them all speak. Well done, Hubbard's Cave. Example of the style gets a perfect 10 out of 10, which brings the total score on Hubbard's Cave's Peanut Butter S'mores to a 92 out of 100. So here we are, another Hubbard's Cave Imperial Stout offering. It is well above average. You really can't go wrong with your beers. I've had a bunch of their IPAs, a bunch of their stouts, some milk stouts, some standard, and they are all top tier beers. Those guys really know what they're doing up there in Niles, Illinois, and I love grabbing their beers when they come out. It's always a pleasurable beer drinking experience. This one is no exception. Folks, that's today's review. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you tuning in today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to stay in the loop when our videos go live to YouTube, just turn on the notifications, click that bell icon. It is right next to the subscribe button. Until next time, keep it beer, keep it craft. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.